Have you ever recited a poem, giving a poem in front of somebody? This might be a rare thing, and maybe talking to my students, the last time they did something like that was in elementary school and primary school. So it's not something that people do as adults very often. But I would suggest that poetry still has some kind of magic or interest, and it's worth looking at. It can be difficult in English, of course. That's why I'm here to help. Now, here I've got just a very short poem. It's a so simple poem. Maybe we can understand it. And from this, we can learn about thinking about poetry in other ways. Okay, let's have a look. So, this one is called Fire and Ice, and it's written by Robert Frost, who's a famous American poet. It was written in 1920. Shall I read it? You can read along too. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favour fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to know that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. So that's the poem. So let's have a look. So, of course, fire and ice are two opposites, right? Fire, of course, is hot. Ice is cold, of course, but it also has certain meanings, certain feelings to it, right? Fire, the heat of fire can also be the heat of passion, love, or even chili pepper. We describe that as fiery hot, right? So, anyway, heat. But it could be kind of, there is some warmth to it. So that feels better than ice. Ice is very, of course, cold. But we talk about somebody being an icy personality would be somebody with no emotions, which was very bad. So he's debating which is worse, really, ice or fire, and he's talking about the end of the world. Oh my God. When I first read this, I thought, well, why would you write a poem about the end of the world? But then look at when he wrote it. This was in 1920, 2 years after the end of the First World War, when people were busy killing each other in Europe. In the First World War, it was the first time there was a world war. And then in 1919, the year before this poem, was the Spanish flu that went through the world. So death and the end of the world was maybe a common theme. And so the story is almost the story. The poem is almost humorous, almost funny. He's saying at the last line, um, the last four lines. I think I know enough of hate to know that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Suffice means would be enough. So if you're going to end the world, I guess ice is okay, he's saying. It's sort of a funny way of talking about the end of the world. That's the most horrible thing we can think of, right? I don't know. I don't know the meanings behind this poem, but that's the beauty of poetry is it can speak to you in a way, you can interpret, you can work out what it means to you. Maybe this poem speaks to you, maybe it doesn't. Um, Something else to talk about the rhyming schemes. Rhyming schemes is like the last word. It rhymes. A rhyme is like fire, desire, fire, and that's it, isn't it? Those ones. But then the other ones are ice, twice. It's got ice again, and suffice. These are all ice. So the sounds repeat in a certain way, and the pattern is A, B, A. So it's like line A, B, A, A, B, C, A, B, C, B, C, B. It's which lines rhyme with each other. So you don't have to rhyme in a poem, but you can. Poetry used to be this is poetry. Poetry used to be very popular, just as popular as novels and other fiction. And I think it's kind of died in popularity. It's not so popular now because well, It's an oral, it's a spoken thing, poetry. You have to speak it. Just reading it on a page is kind of boring, but speaking it and making it come alive with the sounds is good. But of course, now we have technology, we have smartphones, and we have whatever. Well, before that, CDs and records and radio. And I think poetry got lost in technology. But in another way, it's come alive. Things like rap music is very poetic. So the lyrics of pop songs and rap are basically poems. So it's still alive, still worth thinking about. I've got three questions for you. So, number one, what images does fire make you think of? Number two, what images does ice make you think of? So, if I say fire, what do you think of? If I say ice, what do you think of? Number three, does this poem speak to you? Does it mean anything to you? Did you enjoy it or not? Okay, that's everything. Thank you, and see you again.